when the meeting started. The record button. So I'm really sorry, guys, so just to note for the record, I forgot to hit the recording button. Wilson, we can talk later. But that is a deep error on my end and I apologize.
You're working too much.
Just with that also, you know, I get it and I understand. There was, Martha just brought up an active car theft yesterday and it pinged off of Four Seasons. It was at 405 Harris.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to get done and trying to complete, but I'm having to wait on people also. I don't know how to get into the system and to fix GIS, but I do have people that are fixing it. And I apologize for that, you know, but I'm working on it.
Chief, I'm a little confused. Do you want her to supervise or do you want her to concentrate on things like this? That's two separate things. This seems like a larger issue than supervision.
What is establishing priorities?
No. I'm saying, if we're saying this is a GIS issue, this is a much larger issue than supervision. So do you want her to concentrate on things like this, or do you want her to supervise?
That was gonna be my question, Jeremiah.
Because that's two completely separate things. If you're asking her to supervise, she can't worry about things like this. It's a large system issue that Paul alone cannot do, right?
Well, just give us an explanation, Emmett. If the board needs to focus on a
She's
GIS.
saying she doesn't have one. She's trying to figure it out. She needs help in figuring out this large GIS issue that's a full system-wide issue, right? If she's worrying about this, she's gonna have a hard time supervising. If she's supervising, she's gonna have a hard time working on this.
Bingo.
This is a large issue that we need to help with, is what it's sounding like to me.
How do we address it though? Okay, then what's the solution?
We need to create a task force, like we have with other projects, that if we're saying that officer safety, first responder safety, everything else, this becomes one of our projects that we need to help out on, and we need to create a task force to work on this.
And when it comes to GPS coordinates, what, do we have a database? Cause I just used the internet and there were 3 or 4 different websites that I went to and pushed these and entered these GPS coordinates in. And 2 of them were more accurate than the others.
Exactly. We need to depend on our GIS system with the county, okay? And to get that, we barely got a GIS person maybe 6 weeks ago, something like that, for the county. That's who I went to. I have them connected with Motorola to get this stuff done. How they work and how fast they work, I can't tell them, you gotta have this done by this time or whatever.
Would it be,
Because it's for the county, it's the county employee, it's not my employee. Most dispatch centers have a radio person, have a GIS person. Very critical in dispatch.
It's very critical, but we're not large enough.
you said how long did this new GIS person come on?
Like maybe 6 weeks ago, and I met with her like the second week she was here.
Okay. Is there a way that maybe one of us can get with her and make this a priority because it's life safety? And,
Which is
make
where I
this
think
like
we're
their
getting
first,
at,
their first priority?
We need to know these things, that prioritization
I
list
think I
of,
sent you guys on the weekly thing about that I did meet with them. And that was a priority for me.
And how
I sent
long
you
ago
guys
was
that.
that though? How long ago did you meet with her? Like
Maybe
a month
about
ago?
3 weeks ago
3 weeks
with
ago.
her Motorola. I could send out you guys the email that I have, the chain with them. And to show, you know, that they're working together or they're gonna start working together.
So that person's trying to get their feet beneath them and,
Yes,
you know, they're getting inundated with a bunch of stuff, so, maybe it's just a follow-up from you and then maybe one of us to follow up, make sure that this is a number one priority.
it's
Cause
frustrating to
I
us
totally
also.
agree with you, Chief, that this is, very important. We need to be able to know where we're going, and I know that these are not the only instances where, the address was wrong. We, as an engine company, have gone,
Totally, there's been several.
elsewhere.
Yeah, again, if the dispatchers don't have the correct information and equipment to be able to do this, then that's something that we need to take on as a project
Yeah.
for us and be able to assist on this until we have a director that can take all this on.
so let
now
me ask you a
it's-
question though, real quick on the address thing. If we're unsure of the address, then why are we being dispatched to a specific address instead of being advised that this is just a ping, it could be anywhere on the 100 block of whatever? That seems to be an issue that we can address right now.
To be honest with you, I saw this, Martha's here, it was your call, right? for this, yeah, for that ping as to what happened, cause, I mean, I don't wanna misspeak as to what happened, I wasn't there. It happened at night and
And we're not,
like,
let's stay away from specifics. What Sheriff's talking about is, in generality,
why
there
are you
needs to be a
being
policy on
dispatched
if there's
to
not a specific, and I shouldn't say
Yeah.
policy, I apologize, we'll stay away from policy. If there needs to be a procedure on, if there's no specific address, what do we do, right? And that's what you're saying, right?
So-
We'll stay away from.
And this is the supervisory aspect that we're talking about now.
Okay,
We talked about the director situation, now this is the supervisory aspect of, if we're getting the wrong address, it should be identified that we're doing that, now how do we fix
and
that?
we have addressed that and they know, as soon as they know that it may be a possible address, that they communicate. And communication is one of my top priorities. The communication, radio communication with law enforcement is horrible. It's horrible.
In what way? Articulate that.
They don't call en route, they don't call on scene, we think they're in one place, they never tell us that they've gone to another place. We are trying to find these things out all the time.
Have you brought that up with Chief?
Yes,
Rosa?
not with chief, but I have with sheriff,
So
because I
that- so
haven't
that-
met with chief.
So that's not a sheriff's issue, that's a specific department issue, right? So that's not a board thing, then that's, hey,
Right.
we need to go to Chief Trelka and say, hey, I'm having these issues with your officers. Hey, have you done that at all? Let me see
No,
an
we
email,
had
have you-
scheduled an appointment with Perla and them, and they were gonna involve you in on it to meet every other week.
And you need to give me specific incidents when you do that, because I'm not hearing that on the radio.
And yeah, and
And
I
that's-
have asked them to do that for me also, cause I can't be here 24/7.
No,
I
no, no,
can't
but that's an
listen to
issue,
the call.
your dispatcher should be sending you emails when they're having issues.
Right.
You can gather these, be sending an email to Chief
And
Trelka,
have-
or me, or Dan, or whoever, with those specific things, right? Again, that's a separate from a board issue.
Right.
If there are specific department issues, if my ambulances
Correct.
aren't doing it correctly, then I would love an email about what I can do so I can talk to them, right? So these issues that you're talking about with officers, if Chief Trelka doesn't know that directly, right, then he can't do anything about it.
Fix it.
Can we get back to the,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, did you have a
most
more?
definitely.
Yeah, a couple more items,
I could answer
and
for
they're,
this. When this man called back,
yeah,
when they hung up, I called back, he did not know the address, they don't live here. They had no idea it was pinging at that address. And when I finally sent a picture via text of the house of where it was pinged at, and it was in an alleyway, I believe, of some sort.
right,
So that's how you found it, but they did not give me address because they did not know where they were. And then they said somebody was staying in the basement. So, and if they hang up, I can only relay the information I receive. If they tell me they don't know where they're at, I go by.
right. Cause it looks like the officers made contact with people in the basement.
They did because I gave them the phone number because they were answering my questions on the phone, so at least Sparks said, well, I'm gonna keep trying to call. So he himself continued, he tried to call and then figured out where they were because they kept hanging up on me, which happens.
Yep,
So I think this is a good conversation for dispatch and PD to kind of take offline, cause I think we're getting into the specifics of trying to fix the specific call, but what we have identified as the overarching issue is the GIS software.
right,
You're not getting the responses that you need. If you could send me all the information you had with Shelby, I have a meeting with Ann every month that's coming up, I think soon, and I'll talk with Ann and get this as a priority for Shelby's workload.
so that's a process issue, but that's a priority to get that fixed. Sometimes it's, and I know, you're doing this for almost 35 years, I know sometimes these are, 911 calls are emotionally charged. But it just seems like sometimes critical information is missing. On May 29th, I'm getting ready to go off duty and a dead body call comes out. And Maria goes, Hanson goes, Esteban goes, I don't know if it's a murder, if it's a suicide or what. And I tried to call Hanson, doesn't answer. I tried to call him on his phone because he's on scene, so I called dispatch and I say, hey, what are the circumstances? What's the age of the person? I don't know, all I know is there's a pulseless non-breather. Do you have any more than that? Cause I'm trying to decide if I should go over there or not. That's all the information we had. That's kind of rough for us, you know, I wanted more information, frankly. I realize sometimes it's difficult to get, maybe that's the explanation, but I've seen this happen more than once. So, my opinion is we need to work harder, do better in getting accurate information. I noticed it with the homicide. I mean, initially, and a highly dynamic situation, but initially it sounded like a suicide. And within 10 minutes realized that, okay, this, and it was chaotic, of course. It was controlled chaos. But I've seen it better in previous places I've worked, quite frankly. We need to do better. You know, I still struggle with when we generate 2 different case numbers, sometimes 3 or 4 different case numbers, when, let's say the county has a domestic and we go assist them. And it used to be the explanation I was giving, well, okay, if the city goes to help them, it's gonna be an agency assist. Well, all of a sudden that's changed now. I don't know why, I haven't got an explanation. But that to me is a policy change. There was a policy change, unless we got an email that I missed. I just want an explanation.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I
But
believe that, one of that, I don't.
The way it was in the past, if, let's say, Leadville responded to a domestic at Lakeville. And I was told that, okay, if we do respond to that, dispatch automatically generates a second case report number, a P incident number that designates the police department. My opinion is it all should be under one. And I venture to say that there's partitions we can put in place for workflow and, cause if, for reports generated by the county, they've got a workflow where the undersheriff has to sign off, or the captain on reports. We do that on our side as well. It seems like there's a fear to commingle this stuff. But it generates confusion for prosecutors when they do. Well, in the past, when we would respond to that domestic, the case incident number that was generated for the city was always under agency assist. All of a sudden that's changed apparently,
It's the CAD.
and I don't know.
I can't change CAD. That's the system. That's how it's done. That's what we bought.
That's flex now? is what you're
Yeah,
saying?
it's Flex. That's not us.
Well, so Flex, I mean, in the past, it would always be generated as agency assist, now it's no longer it is.
It's not it. We can't because in eForce, that was a thing.
But that was the thing with Flex too, up until like 2
No.
weeks ago,
Can I interject?
yes.
It's because of the way you sign off of the call. If you tell us clear, we think, okay, he's clear, no report. If you want, there is a section that allows you to clear it as what you want, a follow-up, whatever, yeah.
Mhm.
But we can't guess that for you, you need to tell us that, clear, I need an agency assist report. But it will still generate under the P case.
And you will get a P number. We can't assign you an S number.
Yeah,
And there's been glitches also.
when I realized that, but I guess I'm not expressing myself clearly enough. It used to be done one way, it would be an agency assist for us going to that domestic. Now all of a sudden, it's categorized as a domestic for us too.
You
And-
have to change it, and I did speak with if Perla and Joanna would jump on the meetings that we have every other week, then
Mhm.
they would know these things. Is what Kat told us, Flex, what they told us is that you have to change it, not us. When you go in there, you have to change it to agency assist.
Allow me to,
We don't have
Access.
loss,
Yeah,
access
we don't.
to change.
cause I tried that yesterday and you have to change it without.
It just seems like the process changed, and I don't know why, and nobody's giving me an explanation.
I've never been able to change it like that either. It's all, I don't see PD at all whatsoever.
But if the officers were to say, I'm clear on agency assist, you could,
We can section it as, clear it as agency assist, but we won't be able to change the type, like how he's requesting agency assist. It'll fall under medical,
Right.
and in his case, we'll clear as agency assist, assign him a case where he can report it, and then that's the only way we can.
but it won't
Sounds like
generate
that's a way
any.
to meet in the middle, is if your officers say, I'm clear on
Mm-hmm.
whatever, I'm clear ahead, I don't need to follow up, I'm clear at agency, it says
And I-
whatever it is.
Where do you do that?
And I feel like, let's meet, let's talk about these things. Let's get together and with your issues and we could go over all them and we could come up with a game plan and we can get these things covered.
Well, that could be part of the establishing of priorities. I mean, what I'd like to see is from Paul, it says, okay, here's my priorities, and here they're listed out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Be honest with you, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I come and I talk to law enforcement about anything, I feel I get pushback and it's not their issue, it's my issue. I can't fix things if you guys are not willing to work with me.
Well, that's how we feel, quite frankly.
And it's sort of like when you had said that, I had said that they can run their own. That's what the sheriff's office wanted, for them, everybody to have their own and for them to move to that. I'm sorry, I categorized you in that and,
But we'll get there eventually, but we're far from it.
and I need to meet with you, individually and stuff like that, but that was the goal of the sheriff's office, to do that.
Should it be the same for both agencies?
I don't know, I'm not in charge of
So
your
that we're not
agencies.
to decipher if you're.
No,
There's
let
a
me,
lot
let
of
me,
agencies.
since you're bringing our office up, that, we're requesting access for that, to have the ability to do that. And what the chief is saying is that's not our priority anymore. And what he's feeling is that's going that direction, but that's just what we wanna do all the time, forget that duty and dispatch and that we're doing this as a priority. So having the ability to do it is different than who's the primary to do those
So
actions.
when you hear those things, come to me and ask me, because things get twisted so much. We hear so many things. If I was to comment on everything that we hear all the time, it'd be craziness. And that's, I don't know either, I don't know what's being said out there or whatever, but maybe I said something or whatever and now it's twisted and now you're upset about it, but that's not what I said. I would appreciate if you come to me and let's talk, let's get this, resolved.
Well, one thing that does concern me is that I heard directly from you, involved denying Leadville police officers information from CJIS.
That's a
If that
CJIS.
were to happen, stop, let me finish, alright? I've dealt with these issues. CJIS makes these threats, but they're easy to work with. I told you, we are CJIS compliant. If we got to a point where my officers were being denied clearances, I would blow a gasket.
But that's not what I'm saying. That's not,
No, that's what you said,
not-
okay.
No, not a clearance. Information that is printed out because we have to disseminate information correctly to people. I was told that your officers are not CJIS compliant and they have not taken the security role for CJIS.
To access it themselves.
No, anybody who gets CJIS information has to take the CJIS training. They have to get it. That's what CJIS says, that's FBI, that's not me.
Well, these are challenges that agencies are facing across the country, but the bottom line is officers need that information, they're entitled to it.
And I get it, and you know what? Patrol is getting those. I'll help you, I'll show you how to get that, it's very easy. I could walk you through it to be compliant, we could get you compliant in a day.
Cause there's another officer safety issue. If information gets withheld from officers that
It's not
jeopardizes
over
their
the
safety.
radio, I'm talking about paper. Which you guys still get, correct? You picked up
Yes.
paperwork yesterday,
Yep.
correct? I would never deny you anything or tell you you can't have it. I want you to be aware of things that I have to follow under dispatch that are not by me, it's CBI and FBI, it's not me.
Well, a lot of these issues are, and here we have 2 former state troopers. They're fully aware of completely what information we're allowed and are able to access.
I think the undersheriff knows a lot
So-
of what needs that, and I think that's why he has encouraged his patrol people to come in and get those things.
So let's, you mentioned priorities and spoke about. So you wanted to come up with a list of priorities?
Yes,
How many do you want to come up with?
half dozen.
Come up with 6, by when?
Next meeting,
Next month?
Yep.
the next month's meeting.
Correct,
So
we'll
what's the
discuss that
6
later.
priorities?
We do have to
yours
move that date around a little bit.
by next
It'll be
month's
later.
meeting. And that's, we won't put a specific date on that, by July's meeting,
Yes,
just so there's specifics on that, right?
Yes.
That she's able to follow.
But not have it have anything relate to director.
Yeah, 6 supervisor priorities. Yeah, exactly. That's yours.
yeah, and they have to align with your job responsibilities, which all of us have a copy of, or job description. Under duties and responsibilities.
Then can I add a small request to that then? Can we get just top 3 pressing issues, so like the GIS stuff?
The top one.
3 pressing issues, so if that's thinking of the GIS stuff, because we decided that's not a supervisor responsibility, right? That's something that we need to help push.
Well, it's a process
So if we're
issue,
asking her to make
where she needs our
priorities,
help.
so if we're asking you to make priorities for supervisory stuff, can we also just get 3 projects that the board can help you with that are top 3 projects for dispatch?
That's good,
Does that make sense?
that's good, yeah.
And it's okay that they are director.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, no, that should be things that
That's what we're trying to remove from.
you can't handle. Or, you know, or too big of a project can't handle supervisor or director level, things like that, yeah. Yes, sir.
You probably have a dozen of those, but yeah, we're just asking for like the top 3.
Top 3. I can tell you that right now. OC, GIS, and getting our radios.
Sure.
That's my top 3 right there, because our radios, we're having to go in and reset them all the time. Our radios are crap.
And is that a
The second
Motorola
station,
issue?
you can't always do
We can't do it, we can't get the radios or whatever, but
And is that a
Yes.
Motorola issue?
with the backhaul, getting it implemented. And that is another thing that I wanna let you guys know also, is because the radios are end of life in 5 years, I've asked for a quote to see what the extra would be to get on the Axis. Because why are we getting radios that are in?
They're going to stop selling them.
Yeah.
They're going to support it.
No, we do have to do a mandatory.
We already budgeted for that in our long range plan, it's already a part of our plan. It's been covered.
We have to do a mandatory upgrade once the state puts in. So I think also like breaking down policy, right, like that's a pretty broad term. So breaking that down a little bit would be helpful.
Okay, breakdown policy.
Yeah, if you could come up with an expound on it a little bit,
Breakdowns of everything.
it doesn't be crazy, but just some specifics.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope.
Jeremiah? We can move on, Paul, unless you have anything else.
No, I love the feedback.
Okay.
And, to make, I wanna be there, for that and for us to be better and for us to, like I said, to be that top thing, and it discourages me that you feel that we can't do those things, but it's also a challenge to me. And I appreciate that.
I would like to make a suggestion to the board, and I think this reflects back on kind of what I'm seeing through exercises and other things through emergency management. Yes, we cannot meet as a group, right, but we are also heads of our agency. I would request that we each schedule one-on-one monthlies with Paula.
I
As
agree,
part of our
We were
agencies.
going through, I'm not like, yeah,
I would very much appreciate that.
I don't want it to overwhelm you, but that's a great idea.
I would also, cause I'm feeling feisty today, I would also suggest you guys do this interagencies with yourselves as well. If you guys don't have them already, which I'm not convinced.
and then I think that will help you decipher between our
Like-
issues and then board
like
issues, right, like
You two,
we meet as
you
department
two,
heads,
us
and we as a
two.
board, we do issues.
Yeah, the sheriff and I do it
I'm
formally,
seeing a lot of breakdown and
Oh, yeah,
I'm seeing a lot of.
Claire and I informally,
oh, big time.
but I need to communicate more with Chief Dan and Jeremiah.
Anything else, guys? Okay,
One of the things that we do as an agency, and I don't know if you all wanna do that, is we do ride-alongs. And Hunter, you're getting ready to do a ride-along with us, or you just got done doing one?
No, next week, yeah.
Yeah, and we're setting her up with one with us.
So that's
Did you
a,
get phone on the list?
that's a good thing also. I just wanted to
Just
bring
sit
that
with me and
up
answer
because
emails all day.
There you go.
But no, yes, despite my joke, yes, I think that's something that would be helpful.
We'll get that done.
Progress. Alright, we'll move on from that, and Wilson, if, maybe you can guide us through on exactly how to do this. There were two items, for executive session. We just discussed one in open meeting, and the second one was, and the possible recruitment of an interim director. Still like to go into executive session for that. Do we just remain on item 3, Wilson, and go through the verbiage on exactly what needs to be said to go into executive session for that second item?
Sorry, I was just double checking the agenda. I think that the notice on the agenda just described the E-session, or oh no, and the possible recruitment of an interim director. Yeah, so if you did want to proceed to that discussion in executive session, you can do that. I think as I mentioned to you all, I have a hard stop at 12, so I will have to kind of drop off, but you can still have that discussion in E-session if you want to.
Okay, yeah, if you can, yeah, okay. So, well, before we go into that, we'll take a break. Wilson, should we just close this out so we can end the recording and then, come back in?
Can I do a breakout room?
So yes, you can do a breakout room, and I would suggest that maybe just to keep things simple, you just move the E-session to the end and do like the rest of the open meeting, and then that way you can go into the E-session and you can just adjourn when the E-session is done.
Okay, that'd be great. I think that would flow better too. But, can we take a quick pause for a restroom break? Is good with that? Couple minutes.
And so I'm gonna drop off now, but if there are any questions that come out of the E-session, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, Wilson, can we get a call scheduled? I don't know if you heard, I forgot to record the meeting at the beginning until about halfway through, so if we could
That's fine.
get a call scheduled, okay.
Yeah, I'll look for an email from you maybe later today and we can figure out something next week.
Alright, thanks Wilson.
Yep, take care. Bye.
For those of us online, I'm just gonna mute and stop the video, but I'm not gonna stop the recording.
Are we good?
Yep.
Ready to
Yes, and it's recording.
reinitiate?
And I cannot, like, I know the optics of that, it truly was just me forgetting to press record. Like, I hope you guys know that, it was like,
No worries.
truly me
No
forgetting
worries.
to press record.
No, it's actually better that everybody was
Been
here
there.
for that because of that.
Right, yeah, we had a big group here. Okay. So what we're going to do is move on to item 4 then, and have so initiate item 4, discussion and consideration, appointment of interim 911 director led by the chief. Just wanna acknowledge this is out of order from having the executive session conversation prior to. So just general conversation is what I feel is necessary at this point.
Sounds good.
Chief, you wanna take it off, take it off?
Well, I know, like when there was the vacancy for the chief's position, they found an interim, and we're all spread thin. And that's part of the problem we're facing here, is we're, quite frankly, we're all overworked. But the citizens need us, we can't turn the lights off at 9 o'clock at night. So should we consider appointing an interim director to assist with a lot of this? Is there a viable qualified candidate? Now, I mean, any one of us, we could appoint probably any one of the board members, but we don't have the capacity.
No.
So are there,
So you don't want it?
Oh, you're funny, Sheriff.
The hospital just recovered, he's stable now.
so should we consider trying to find another local viable candidate who isn't overwhelmed right now?
We can certainly consider it. Are there options in mind?
One I was thinking was the undersheriff. I mean, dispatch moved away from law enforcement, but I believe he has the capacity, I have no doubt he's qualified. But just a placekeeper, I'm not saying somebody to make big changes, but maybe temporary policies. And in my world, supervisors are sergeants, corporals are sergeants, they don't make policy. Executives make policy. Lieutenants, captains, chiefs and sheriffs, boards make policy. And that may be different in other disciplines that all of you are in, but in the discipline I'm in, that's how it works. But just a placekeeper, somebody to assume some of the duties and responsibilities, because I think Paula's overwhelmed. I think she's trying to do too much.
I agree, I think what does that look like?
Good question.
Does the undersheriff come out as undersheriff and go in as director?
No,
I guess then we run the risk of the same thing, of him getting spread way too thin as undersheriff, because the sheriff's department's generally understaffed in some areas right now, and I mean, he's almost a road deputy right now, is he not?
Yeah, there's definitely capacity issues.
So if he's undersheriff and trying to be on the road and trying to be E911 director, my worry is that we run into the same exact thing where he's spread way too thin, and there has to be a priority somewhere, and of course the undersheriff's priority is gonna be the sheriff's department, as it should be, and not the E911 director. So that would be my main concern, is that we're just doing the same thing with somebody else.
And I think the optics of that would not be good. Considering the fact it was under the sheriff's department, and then we formed this authority board for it not to be under the sheriff's department, but then we take the undersheriff and throw him in the director's position.
Correct, and we're
I
telling
totally
dispatchers,
disagree
like,
with
the sheriff's department is not your supervisors, the board is, it's the E911 thing, it becomes
Yeah,
very
it's gonna
confusing.
muddy it all up.
It becomes very confusing.
Where it makes practical sense though, playing the devil's advocate, law enforcement is the largest user of the system. So that
Sure, we're
knowledge
the
is
only
there.
user of the system.
But we're not the only, I understand. Yes.
Yeah, I think
I mean, if there was another person that we could possibly recruit, I'd be all over for that discussion, but I highly disagree with you.
Or someone who is, sorry, I didn't mean.
No,
I
we're
was
just at the same
gonna
time.
say, as well, if it was someone whose that's job was solely gonna be for a while, I'd be fine with that, but trying to run two positions,
I
two
wonder-
high level positions.
I wonder if Jackie would have a
Well-
suggestion for us.
I would
Well, I
rather
was-
funnel the money into a contractor in KRW
I
than
mean,
do an interim, cause we would have to compensate the undersheriff.
Agreed. And Jackie, so you're talking about this
The consultant,
from 911 Solutions?
if she had any suggestions on somebody that could be an interim for us.
Yes, and I'm also wondering if we could make that a part of the contract for her to function, for her company, in an interim basis. Is that something they do?
Don't know.
I don't like that.
I wanted to point out that part of the discussion here is like, should we do this, yes or no? Or just continue on the path that we're on now, I think is the comparison point. So we have, where we're at now is we have not appointed an interim director. It's one of the shalls that we should do according to the IGA. And our current process right now is Paula is at the highest level within the dispatch center as an employee. And so really just to keep, maybe even candidates out of it at this point, we can discuss that too. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but, to focus on the question of, do we just continue to try to hire a permanent director? Or do we take efforts towards an interim director? And that's to me, that's the question. I'm hearing kind of like maybe yes, maybe no. That's something I think we can talk about right now.
Yeah, and I'm fine with going the direction if there's somebody who has the capability, but I think we're gonna run into the same thing where no one really has the capability and we're trying to track down somebody just like we're trying to track down a director,
Correct.
that I think it's kind of,
Yep.
I don't think we're gonna find that person.
And
I like the idea, I just
Right.
don't think we're gonna find that person.
And I think what we have to do is really get into the weeds a little bit, because we'll just use this, and just to be clear, the undersheriff idea, was not mine. I have my hesitations because he has so much to do. I
It was
think
mine.
it presents a topic of conversation though, because at what point do we decide Paul is to overtest, we're over to test? A local interim director, and that could be anybody, maybe one of your chiefs, or they're already busy. But what is our level saying, at what point do we decide, okay, these are two not great options, which one weighs just a little, outweighs the other? What works, I think today, what I'll point out today is I'm seeing what's classically defined as a leadership vacuum situation where we don't have, Paul doesn't have a supervisor. And part of her eagerness is to be like, who do I go to for some of these things? And it's just by not having that person. We went through a period where we said, very similar, where this could be the prior person who's in that role, where we just say, okay, we're supposed to appoint somebody, we appoint Paula. That's a consideration as an interim director. But as we discussed today, we feel over too much, we're not getting more important baseline foundational items completed. So I think the answer is yes, maybe we do try for it, but then I think we can have a discussion on what is our comfort level on overtasking people to cover some required duties. And maybe even get into the details of what are those exact duties as the interim director, and maybe it's not the full list.
Sure.
Because by no means would I say, okay, under sheriff is perfect candidate and say, you need to do all these director roles. Because now all the projects I have him running on are falling to the side, which is the exact problem I have with appointing the last person, appointing Paul, is those other foundational items will fall off.
So it sounds like we don't think it's a bad idea. But how do we fill it? So yes, for the concept, but it presents challenges.
And if you don't mind, I'll go back to the statement I made earlier that I don't want to take credit for these words, this is in the ITA, is that when we were selected to discharge our duties of director in good faith, with the care of what an ordinary prudent person in a like position, so like position's important there, would exercise in similar circumstances. So that's forcing us to really evaluate this situation and make that decision of another shall appointing, or appointing a director.
Sure.
And, which we have not, I mean, it's been almost, it's been close to 2 years now. And we've not appointed a permanent director. Yes, ma'am.
Can I say maybe, because we can't find the director or whatever, maybe focus a little bit more on another supervisor to help, to at least if there's two, hey, we could take on certain these things that you guys have that are, that it's just not me.
Right.
We're not a director, but at least another supervisor, to really focus, okay, yeah, you focus on these things right here, I'll focus on these things right here. Cause maybe it's easier to find another supervisor than it is a director right now.
That's a good point. Do we have a qualified internal candidate?
We possibly could, yes, I believe that we possibly could.
And the supervisor position is live on the job site still.
Yeah, so I'd say we are doing that. We're not ignoring that possibility.
I'm just throwing that out there, just, to help, cause I know the board is also, you guys are all busy too. And I guess, and that was my fault, I was trying to take on too much to help.
Is somebody internally were to apply for the supervisory position that's alive right now, would they qualify?
The ones who would qualify right now would probably be Mary and Becca, because of their experience.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, but she's part-time and she's going back to school.
Maybe throw that idea out to them. The position is available.
It's not live yet.
Apply for it.
It is live, yes.
And to be honest with you, I have been, and I've been trying to show them what I do and how I do it and all the applications that we use, what goes into it, encouraging them to take these trainings. Because to be honest, I take trainings all week long. That's a lot of my stuff. If I don't know how to use the system, how can I go out there and show them? So I'm taking that on for myself, that I'm learning all these systems in and out. Because, how else am I gonna learn? So, I'm just throwing that out there.
I like the dual supervisor role, but still doesn't take care of our problem of that we need to appoint a director, as it were.
Not a director, but at least with another
So that's
supervisor,
like
we can take his
in
things.
lieu, is on top of.
Hmm.
We need to
What-
figure out
It's all some issues and others,
I just don't wanna get too far off track with
No,
this,
sure.
but what's it gonna take to convince them to apply?
I think encouragement. I think that it's not a failing thing, that it is something to grow. I've encouraged them all that this could be their career, not only as a supervisor, but out as a director. Anything that goes up higher, I'm showing them, hey, these are the classes that you would have to take and stuff like that. You know, I took the supervisory class through Nina, very beneficial. I would love to go to more classes, but I haven't because, you know, while we just got Becca on, we have Hunter and FTO, and I think now's not the time, but I would love to do those things. I think, you know, it's gonna take a little bit of time, but I know they have the concept, they have what needs to get done because they're dispatching every day and they see the issues, that they're not immune to it. And
Okay, let's, I know it's interesting to have that conversation and encouraging to hear we might have some possible candidates for that position, but I wanna stay focused on just the interim director. So we can continue that conversation offline. But I feel like we have kind of a mutual feelings on a yes, if we had somebody, is that fair to say? And maybe next steps are to gather a list of potentials, and that may take reaching out to people, which I'm willing to do. We had a point of contact with Jeff Com at one point, and see if there's an outside candidate for it.
Would we be okay with a part-time position?
Me, yes.
Yeah,
Be better than nothing.
right, exactly, and especially if we reduce the list of required items and going back to Paula's prioritization list and saying, we just need you to address these things for us right now. And that could probably be part-time, I would imagine.
What are you thinking, Ben?
What's that?
What are you thinking?
Oh, just to get feelers out there on whether it's a full-time or a part-time position.
And create more options.
Yeah, create more options.
Yeah, I think we'd be flexible on how much time per week, for sure.
Do
If
20
there's an
40
interim,
hours.
I mean, if there's a director somewhere where they have greater capacity, cause their system is already built.
Right.
And they're willing to do part-time work, Summit County, whoever,
Somebody who recently retired
wherever.
from a large, Jeffco, Denver, whatever.
I say, you guys good with that? Let's add this to a future agenda item, with again, some more, information collected. That way we can take this to a potential decision to pursue somebody.
That's fine.
I don't think we have enough today to make any sort of consideration, so we can just table the consideration portion and just
Yeah,
call this at a
100%.
discussion, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, next time we can have Jackie, we can have a discussion if there's options for that.
She's gonna attend a future meeting anyway.
We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Alright, anything else on that topic, guys?
Nope.
Alright, move on to item 5, discussion of the possibility of a Lake County Regional Dispatch Center. I wanted to have this discussion in the group today, to talk about, just to throw out some potential options. We have a lot of options, and there's a lot of concerns brought up, so I'm glad we're having this discussion publicly. And Paula, please do me a favor on this one, make sure you're passing this information on. So if the dispatchers are feeling out of touch or out of alignment with what the board is discussing, it's a request that you pass that information on specifically to this one, because this was one of their bigger concerns, it seems like. I'll start off with this. I see this as two potentials, not advocating for one or the other. One is temporary and the other one's permanent. And we're not making that decision today on what direction we're A temporary option is getting with a county that has the capacity to help us with dispatch. As I mentioned earlier, Paul, and you and your crew have had no vacancies. You haven't had to shut down the dispatch center. You've been here for 3 years. That's been a discussion for 3 years on different timeframes. And right now, we haven't had that. But to keep it open, you're working 120 hours in a pay period. So a quicker solution could be joining another county and requesting their assistance while we focus on some rebuilding efforts, whatever that looks like. I don't know. We can discuss that today. The permanent answer is a contract of some sort, maybe that's or an agreement of some sort with another county to regionalize our dispatch centers indefinitely. That's another option. Just to be clear, I'm not advocating for one or the other, I'm just saying I look at this discussion as talking about both of those options. I'll start off with some discussions we've had with, in relationship to Jeffcom. So Jeffcom is a large dispatch center out of Jefferson County. I don't have their total amount of agencies that they dispatch for right now. I do know that the Clear Creek has recently contracted with Jefferson County's communications center, which I'll just refer to often as Jeffcom, and that's who that is. They've been with them for a little over a year now, and I had lunch with the sheriffs this week, and Sheriff Matt Harris was there, Clear Creek Sheriff, to talk about how that's going so far. So their response was, it's going great. There's no issues with dispatching to locations. They have their systems built. They're a well-oiled machine. They have a lot of resources, and they took over Clear Creek as if that's just what their job is to assist other dispatch centers, other communities who don't have all the resources available. To me, it represented a turnkey operation. I don't know if they'd even consider us. It's just something to talk about. I think they could potentially offer a short-term or long-term solution. I'm not sure. Again, we have to have a lot of those, we have to kick off some of those conversations with them. I just have enough to know that that's a potential option for us. And after talking to the Clear Creek Sheriff, that's what he relayed to me, was it's going well. They've been with them for a year. They're still proactive in their presence. And one of the things he brought up to encourage current staff is that there has to be some current staff present at our dispatch center to handle local whatever. And I don't know what those are exactly. So I do know enough to say that if we went with them, it's not everybody's out of a job. The jobs would most likely change, and to what the staffing levels are, what those positions, those job duties are, I don't know. We have another discussion happening later on with some of our other surrounding counties. I did talk to the Park County Sheriff a little bit. He's gonna talk to their director to see if they feel comfortable with that, whether it's short-term again or long-term. We'll have future conversations with the Chaffey County Sheriff, who runs the Chaffey County Dispatch Center also. So what I see right now are those potential options. We either join forces, whether it's temporary or long-term, with another smaller county, and we support each other. Or we look at the big machine and ask if they can take on a smaller county. I feel like from my few discussions that I've had with them, that the bigger machine's more turnkey. The smaller county joining forces is gonna take more work in figuring out how do we do this, because they're not built to handle it, neither are we. We haven't experienced that quite yet. Not really looking to get into those details, Dave, just to be clear. I'm not looking to get into legal matters or cost per call or anything like that. I just wanna keep this as a general discussion on some of those options. So, hope I fed enough information to kick off a conversation. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, I wanna reemphasize that, there's always jobs for employees. So what I'm saying is, let's say this did happen. Nobody's losing their job. They may have other duties in the city or the county. There's gonna be job security. Cause, and I've been involved with these discussions in other communities, and now I'm gonna, even though I'm an appointed official, I have the experience as elected official. One thing I always weighed as an elected official, dispatch is expensive. We are spending a lot of money. When I brought our costs for dispatch to my elected officials, there was a lot of concern. So I'm always asking, after having worn that elected official hat, can we get the same level of service for a better cost? And that's a discussion this board needs to have, because I hear it all the time, my taxes, my taxes, my taxes. And it's only going to get worse.
I'd like to add to that point also that Clear Creek Sheriff did say there was a cost savings overall when they joined with Jeffcom. And then I'm also using our own experience with this regionalized approach to our custody of our local inmates with our contract with Chittenden County Jail. It is a cost savings for us, significant if we had to build a jail compared to the next 25 years or so, on millions of dollars we're saving. And so when we look at these combined efforts, then we see cost savings. We see the potential for higher pay. We see just more efficiencies in systems and staffing levels. So to the funding side, we have a couple points there to add in there and consider.
I know it's a concept that most of the state of Colorado, of course, and Claire, you know this, we're looking at, state BLM Forest Service, they're looking at, and they're already doing it, joining forces for those joint regional dispatch centers. It's just for not only just cost savings, but the efficiency of it. You're talking to your partners right next door to yourselves, and you're making decisions based on those larger incidents. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about this one because, we lose local control, we lose, there's transition challenges. We just put a whole bunch of assets into our dispatch center, which, those costs would probably go down depending on what that, annual cost would be over a period of time. There's a geographical disconnect from somebody outside just trying to be like, well, where's Saturdays? And people are not gonna know that, but GIS would probably take care of that. There's some political resistance and then operational complexity. So we would lose that, but there are a lot of pros, the cost efficiency, the improved technology, because those larger dispatch centers may have greater capacity than what we do, because they may be more established. We have enhanced coordination, 24/7 staffing, and the redundancy of multiple staff, and then professionalization. You have more training opportunities if it's a larger organization. You have more buckets of money going into a system that might be able to support the training aspect and more personnel. So I said I think a whole lot more pros than I said cons, but again, I'm more than happy to look at a part-time regional aspect to see like what kind of challenges and complications we're going to see by doing that. And then see, as we're going through that pathway, how many speed bumps we're actually going to realize that we're getting ourselves into. And it may actually give us a roadway to do it full-time. If not, then, and if we come across things and decisions that we're like, well, you know what, let's pump the brakes and really just focus internally here on what we're really trying to do, and that's build an agency here locally. Because again, my comment earlier is that I know that good things take time. And I don't think that we've been or given our dispatch center enough time yet in order to be able to see whether we're going to actually flourish the way that we actually truly need to as an agency. I know that we all struggle, every agency struggles here with staffing and cost and salary retention and everything. But I would like to see us give our dispatch center an actual chance before we make a huge decision on transferring this out for a permanent solution.
I don't think anyone's considering giving up on dispatch as is, at least I'm not.
No, I'm not
But-
saying that.
No, and
I'm
that's,
not-
but I think, I think we need to look at backup options just in case all of our, all of our systems depend on redundancy. And if this ever fails for some reason, if we have dispatchers that have to leave or something happens, whatever it is, and this thing fails, we have no backup option right now. That's why I think we need to look at what options we have, what this is gonna take, because it's not as simple as flipping a switch. There has to be systems in place, we have to have ways to page, we have to have, compatible everything. And so, I think we have to look into this, whether we do or not, it's a whole different story. But I think we have to look into this and what it would take and how much it would take, so that we're aware of what backup options there are and what we have to do to make that happen. So, we have to look into it regardless. And all options there. But I think, yes, best case scenario is that we keep our own dispatch center and it flourishes and we keep it going for sure. That is absolute best case scenario.
Yeah.
That's option number one for sure. But right now there is no backup option.
We have no backup PSAP right now?
There's Chiefy can take our calls.
Yeah.
They can't page for us though.
Right.
Actually, Chiefy cannot take our calls. Chiefy wanted us to, the guard agreement or whatever, we don't have a guard agreement with them anymore. Chiefy didn't want it. That's what you have signed, that guard agreement.
And they don't wanna renew it.
Whoa, what?
That's
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, I'm right there with
I mean,
Claire,
I'm
like,
sorry,
what's going on?
I did give it to the sheriff to sign the guard agreement. Chiefy didn't want the guard agreement.
that's what allows them to.
To get all the, you can flip over the switch and they'll get the calls, but they can't do anything else. Like, they're not getting our warrants, they're not getting,
Oh, but they can take
yes,
our
they can.
911
Yes.
calls.
they can take a 911 call.
Okay.
But the way Chiefy does it, they do everything by text. Because we can't cross lines with radios. We have a MAC channel, but, do you know what I mean? But
No,
the way they were doing it is that they took the call, they write down everything, they can't create a case number. They just take our 911 and then they were texting our patrol to calls.
So, yeah,
That's-
so
so
yes,
there's a
at
lot.
the core,
Yeah.
they can do it, right? It's the last time this happened, we don't get a
Yeah.
page, they just say things over the
Right.
radio and somebody has to be awake to hear it kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So there's those sorts of issues that we need to figure out, there are ways to
Correct.
do it, but there has to be a telephone line into our 800 system to be able to page on 800, like I was talking about this the other day. And there has to be specific systems in place for us to be able to page, because we can't page on 800 right now. So there's just all those things to take into account, right? And it's gonna cost money, there's gonna be changes, there's gonna be all kinds of things. So I think we need to look into the options, but I think we need to absolutely, try to support the way it is now and what we can do first, but we need to know what the backup options are and how we can do it as well.
and I think that was my point exactly, if we do a part-time or look into at least a part-time situation, we'll understand all the complexities that we
I just have a question real quick.
Mhm.
So looking at this and going part-time and that, is it because you feel that we're not doing what we have to do, there needs to be more training, or you're not getting that coverage? Or is it because we don't have enough people staffed yet, like, I'm.
This
So-
is, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just kinda want to chime in, I think my response is gonna kinda answer your question. My vision for this, I think along, like a permanent solution, I don't wanna get to that point, but I do think we need a stopgap to address everything you just said and everything we've talked about today. This is something, Sheriff, I don't know if I misunderstood you, but like, yes, I'm sure Clear Creek had a turnkey with Jeffco, we still have seen this in our smaller regions. Park County was dispatching for Cripple Creek overnights for a little bit. Chaffey County was covering Park at one point. Like we have small departments and small dispatch centers that are covering each other across county lines. So we're seeing that in the South Central region already. So I don't think I'm sure there's still hurdles to jump, but I think maybe those hurdles are a little bit reduced. Especially if we're looking at Park or Chaffey, which has done this both for them and for other people. I want to give you guys capacity to fix what we've talked about today, whether that's trainings or sending people to sit-alongs or just being able to come into the office and focus on tackling one project or go to meetings. So if I can shift 5 hours away for a dispatcher where Chaffey or Park is taking our calls and give you guys the capacity to do that, I think that gives us time, as Sheriff kind of said, to start to build back up. So I don't want to see jobs go away. I want to keep our dispatch staff and I want us to keep recruiting. But I also don't want to see extravagant amounts of overtime. So if we can kind of set this system up, maybe we can even get into a contract or an agreement of sort where it's like, hey, we have a dispatcher going on vacation, can we do these hours with this other organization? And we already have that built, and it's more just turning it on rather than struggling to keep our dispatch center afloat with 120 hours. So that's my vision for it. It's not, but like it's to give you guys time and capacity to grow and develop. So I appreciate that you're taking all these trainings, that we're putting people through FTO, that we're no longer just sitting someone down and say, welcome, you're a dispatcher now. So I can recognize all that growth, but we have so much more to do, and I wanna give you guys the breathing room to do that without worrying about the 911 call that's coming in, because we have those handled. That's my vision for it, to give us something, and kind of along what Jeremiah was saying, when things do go down, we have it all set up and it's turning it on and not figuring it out.
And I think
Thank you for laying it out that way, Claire. Yeah, that's perfect.
It's not because of anything you guys are or not doing, it's, at one point, we were, unsure we were gonna have dispatchers enough to staff 24/7, right?
Right.
If, and we're not at that point now, which is great, we're improving, that's awesome. But if for some reason we ever get back to that, there just has to be another plan, right? That is it. And that's the major thing, is we have to be able to provide emergency services to this county. And if this is dispatch center cannot do that, physically cannot do that right now from lack of training, not from lack of anything, physically doesn't have the people to be able to do that, we have to have another option, so.
And I agree with that,
Yeah.
we should always have redundancy and everything, we should always be interoperability.
Totally right, yeah.
We should always be there.
But no, this isn't anything you guys are not doing something, or
I just
whatever
want,
it is,
because
right?
I know they're gonna ask me,
Totally, yeah,
so I wanna
Yeah.
get an answer.
yeah, it's not that at all, it's just, there has to be redundancy, there has to be a plan.
I agree with that.
And my understanding when I talked to the Park County Sheriff, was they went to Chaffey for 2 months. And just along this whole topic, that example, I like to use the reference, the analogy of when I became sheriff, 3 years ago. It was like they dropped me on this ship in the middle of a raging storm, and the ship is sinking. And so the ideal way to fix that is to dock it, patch it up, throw it back out in the ocean, get back to work. However, we were in the middle of the ocean and we're required to keep chugging along. And I always wish that I had this opportunity to dock the ship and fix it. But that's impossible. I mean, we had Leadville Police Department struggling with staffing. We were struggling with staffing. Our other law enforcement agency present in our town, Colorado State Patrol, 50% staffing levels. We had nobody to look to. This situation provides us that possibility to dock the ship and fix it. And to address everything just like Claire said. I think you said it perfectly, and I agree with you, Claire, that we need to address all of that you brought up. And we need better training, we need more staff, we need more time to develop those things. And so that's, so what I'm gathering is that we spend a focus on that temporary solution, and that provides a lot of things for us. One, it provides the redundancy, so if we get back and we're fully functional again, we have that backup plan with, let's say, just Chaffey for this example, that we can say, hey, we need to flip things over to you, we had whatever come up. And
You'll have more time with that this next week, you said?
I'm meeting with them Tuesday, yes. And so, and then Jeremiah's also started the conversation with, Nick, is it Nick?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, he way backed out from that one, though, he was like, I'll let you guys talk
Yeah.
about it.
But we have future conversations happening, he's the director of JP County's dispatch center.
Nick
Um,
Huffman.
Yeah, however, it's completely underneath the sheriff's office there, so, we're having a conversation starting with the sheriff in JP County first.
And I just scheduled with Maria, the dispatch supervisor over in Park County, not as much of a conversation on a contract, but in terms of questions to ask and pitfalls to look out for.
Cause they already did
Because
this.
they've done it, yeah, and she's seen it, and she did it for Teller, I think it was Cripple Creek specifically, so not a conversation about contracts or anything, just simply a question of, hey, we've done this before, here are the things you need to consider from her perspective.
I also wanna point out that we know what we know. I think there's a few of us in this room that have been dispatched through multiple different dispatch centers. You know, for us as prior troopers, I don't know, maybe a half dozen to 10 different dispatch centers across the state. I've experienced a lot of different ones. I know the chief has also, even across different states. And so a lot of the concerns that are being brought up, I don't have the answer for it, but I know the answer's there. And so I know it would make everybody feel comfortable. And some of these obstacles that were brought up, the answer's there. Yeah, other counties are doing this, other states are doing this. As a trooper, I was dispatched out of Craig, out of Montrose, Pueblo. They dispatched me here in Lake County to everything. I never ran into an issue with it. So, just from user experience, again, I don't have the technical answers that you guys are seeking, and I think those are valid questions, and I'm not saying we shouldn't answer them, but I just know the answers.
Totally, absolutely, yeah, it is, just a matter of how we get it done.
Right. You guys feel like, Paula, you got any more questions, on that topic?
No, I think just having that job security out there
Okay.
to them would be.
I'd be happy to join one of your meetings too to talk on that, also to answer those. And Hunter, I wanna point you out also, I know you brought up a lot of questions. I imagine we didn't answer all of them. I think some of them we just can't answer at this point, cause we don't know. But I hope you understand, just like, you know, one, how the board has to operate legally, and that we're just having this as an initial conversation. And with no threats of positions or anything along those lines.
There's plenty of job security.
I just wanna take it to them that it's nothing that they're doing wrong. I don't ever wanna do that, do you know what I mean? And it's an opportunity to grow and to be that standard.
I would like to say, I think that I came in at I'm very fortunate for the training experience that I get to have, but I know that most of the other dispatchers have not gotten.
Correct.
I got to spend a full week of doing FEMA training and telecommuter training. I'm currently doing the CallWorks training and the Everbridge training that they have available for you to take on how to learn how to create templates, contacts, all of that. I know they have not had that. So I know that I'm very fortunate in that aspect of I get to be at the beginning of all of your guys' training. And I think it's really helped. I get to take time to sit in there with them, learn Flex, learn all of these systems. You know, I come from Eagle County where they use the alerts a lot for different various things. So Everbridge has been really cool for me to learn because then it makes me understand where they're coming from. And that when you really do implement that and everybody has the same kind of communication. I get to go on these ride-alongs where I'll get to see each department and how they do that. So I understand I'm very fortunate in that aspect. And I do think that it's great that you guys are trying to implement that stuff and get that available to the girls who have been here for a while that necessarily didn't get that training when they first started.
Thank you.
Anything else before moving on?
I don't have to pull that, or pull that.
What's that?
No.
You don't have to. Alright, we'll move on to item 6, updates and discussion on current operations and topics. And so we'll go through our list here. We talked a lot about this already, but let's make sure we're touching on this in case we missed anything. Chief Daly on training.
Everything that Hunter said, thank you, which is great. We're still working on building those training manuals and like the procedural things that go along with those. We've missed a couple of our meetings unfortunately. So we're just gonna stay on track with those and see what needs to happen for the additions to those and have the consistency across the board of training. That's about all I have, Paul, unless you have, I know that you just attended some training.
So Colorado does not have, I would say, they're getting a standard for training for dispatchers. And they have it, and the great thing about it is that the national training standards, they got from Colorado. Colorado's the forefront on those training standards for dispatch. And for APCO and ENA, and when you went to that, that's what I'm following. I'm following those standards to train, or the APCO standards to train.
That's what I was
Yes.
trying to remember.
You say Colorado does not have standards?
We are not mandated to
But
have a
the-
standard,
But we're
But the
getting
Nate-
there.
but we're dictating the national
We
standards.
are, I don't know why, it's just, it's a Colorado thing, I don't know. That's-
Okay.
yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
confusing to me.
Go on the 911 resource, you'll find it all. Great resource for all this. So those are the standards that I am implementing and having started with Hunter. So that's what we're doing. And I'm finding too that I am gonna sit in dispatch while Mary is helping her. I just can't fathom, oh, you're sitting there and I'm dictating or yelling at you what to do. That's craziness to me. So with that, I'm covering dispatch at least for a couple of hours while I'm there, while Mary gets to sit with her, take those calls, show her how. And Mary has done that a little
Yeah,
bit, right?
I got to be on the radio the other day, just
So,
figure out
you know,
the
we are trying to do those things and trying to implement that kind of standard. Just so you guys are aware of that. That's all I have on training.
Okay, thank you. Move on to 911 staff recruitment and retention.
Nope.
I have, oh no.
Good.
So I have someone coming in next week to come in and test. So if it goes any further than that or whatever, then yes, you will be getting an invite.
Test on what?
We do a dispatcher's test
Okay.
to see if they'll move forward into the interview process.
It's a hiring process?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything on the retention bit? Policy. Talked a lot about that.
Yeah, I think
Did we
we,
miss anything?
no, I think
checking
we've
that
covered
one
that,
off.
yeah.
Okay, moving right along. Project management. I think we talked about that quite a bit too. I just wanna make sure that you feel comfortable on who to go to with some of those
And
things.
I'm gonna write this down actually, if you guys don't mind, give it to me again, so I can write this, so I am
Yeah, for
absolutely
sure.
sure.
It's on the agenda,
Is
so if
it
you, if
everybody,
you
okay,
lose it,
yeah, I don't have the agenda in front of me, I'm sorry.
but it's Jeremiah and I.
Awesome.
Oversight and supervision, did you have anything to add?
No, I think that we talk about certain things, needs, et cetera, when we meet on
Well,
Wednesdays. So,
Yeah.
I don't have anything, and I don't have anything, like, if there's anything that comes out of our meetings, I'll be sure to reach out to you,
Yeah.
but there hasn't been
Okay.
anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah, and we can try to set up a routine when we're both there a little better, so then one time. Budget,
Can I go back to that?
sure, please.
So, and I know I shouldn't feel like this would, but I would wanna take time off, but then I feel bad because none of the dispatchers are. So I kinda, you know, I feel bad about that, but I really wanna take time off. I feel like I need it.
Yes,
So,
no,
yeah.
you should take time off,
Yeah, you
yes.
get that as well, and again, this is something like, you know, we're going with a plan where, you know, you take some time off, and I guess dispatchers are, you know, there's stuff for them to do too, but, you know, maybe it can't be 3 weeks, but it is
Right,
but something,
right.
right, like, and we can work it out as well, so.
I'm just looking at, you know, a couple of days, you know, around like Fourth of July, I would like a day off next week, you know? That I can say, hey, you know, I'm gonna be gone, please contact Chief Davey, contact Sheriff.
Right.
If you need anything, so just wanna throw that out there, 'cause I shouldn't feel guilty, but I feel guilty.
No, yeah, just give them that path. And I think what I'll do is address the comment made by Daniela right now with the what happened while you were on vacation. And if that came up again, you know, just to clear the air on that, I was doing my normal checks up there as I do often.
And you do.
And she just brought up the fact that she ran into an issue she didn't know how to handle and they made a decision. And my response was to email you to notify you of that information. It was that simple. It was, I know it blew up into this whole thing about burnout and whatnot and scared to email and people reviewing it. It was to clear the communication. So I just wanted to clear that up. There's no issues. Yeah, it was just wild to me that it grew that crazy when I just said, make sure you notify Paula of what you guys did. It was that simple. Budget?
I think there is one thing I wanna address. I know there's kind of been some confusion on approval of invoices with the county. I spoke with County Manager Candace Bryans about that. We had a good conversation. There's just been, I think we can all acknowledge, a lot of changes in the finance, world of Lake County government, all for the better. We're doing a lot of good things there. We're gonna have new finance policies approved, a new procedure manual coming out. But as we work through those changes, I think those larger ticket items, we're just really trying to hammer home, let's make sure everything is T's are crossed. I almost said I's are crossed. So, my eyes are crossed. But I think I just wanna highlight, like, if there's an invoice coming to Sheriff and I, they're just asking for a check just to make sure it is okay. There's just a lot of changes going on and we're just moving through all of that. So it's not, I think it's just kind of we can sit down when the final finance policies are approved. But I just wanna highlight, it's just simply the county just saying, hey, we noticed this invoice is for $66,000, can we just make sure that it's budgeted? And it's just a final check from Sheriff or I. And literally all they're looking for is an email back from one of us
Thumbs
saying
up.
yes.
Approved,
Yeah, which was my confusion, but we cleared that up with Candace, so.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, I just think it's, time's running away from us, not just today, but for the calendar year, and we're gonna have to put the budget started. You know, just wanna acknowledge that we're gonna have to put it on our agenda and, start working through our 2026 budget sooner than later. It's already June. I don't have anything else to add from the budget standpoint. Okay, anything else on?
So that begs the question here, so does that mean that we should start going to 2 meetings a month instead of 1? I mean, currently right now, because of everything that's on, everything that we've already made decisions about, they're pretty big topics, they're not minor.
I think we are at a point where we need to look at 2 meetings a month, if not a meeting and a work session.
I was gonna say a meeting and a work session.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Let's pursue that.
Started off in July, the best month.
Yeah, well, I think it would help avoid some of these marathon meetings too, after spring.
We probably will.
For project management,
Mhm.
I would really like you guys, because this is like, keep me up sometimes. To look at when we go into construction, I really want that redundancy, that if something happens, they cut a wire or whatever, what are we doing? Where are we going?
I think you should talk with Sheriff about
That's what I'm
that.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, you both, I really want that we have a plan in place. If something happens, we need to know where to go, what are we doing? I think that's a big project.
When's construction, when's groundbreaking?
We don't have an official date or even month, it's just early 26 is about as close as I can project right now.
Should
Because I
we
feel
move the
like-
priority of the part-time regional also
It's, yeah,
up further because of that?
yeah, I'll definitely stay hard on that one right now.
So backup
Let me know.
plan during construction.
And I really want that. on your guys' radar,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
please.
Good idea.
I'll help in whatever capacity that you guys need.
Yeah.
And just to share the little information I have on that right now is, we are working with them closely, the architects closely to come up with a phased plan. So there aren't an interruption in services, but to Paul's point, you never know what's gonna happen, I can clip a wire or something and just close this out, but, dispatch is heavy on our minds in that phasing development. Alright, anything else? With updates and discussions, current topics? Alright, so, by advice of our legal team, with Wilson, moving the, second part of the executive session to the end of the meeting, so we can dismiss you guys, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And then we don't have anybody with us right now. If anybody tries to join, they'll just enter the waiting room.
Okay,
Just deny them.
okay, sounds good.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
Yes, anytime.
Thanks, Hunter.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks,
Do you
guys.
want the keys, Patrick? You're just gonna hang
Thanks, Patrick, for hanging out with us.
Appreciate your input.
Can you close the door?
Thanks,
So,
Thank you. He's doing great.
I need to read this first before, you haven't stopped, right?
No.
Okay. Alright, so I move to go, I move to go into an executive session for the discussion of personnel matters under CRS 246402-4F. The employee that the executive session concerns has been advised of the executive session and has indicated that this discussion should not be part of the public meeting.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I've got my radio on because I'm responsible for calls for service
Okay.
now.
Okay. You wanna switch the recording?
It is recording?
Oh, we're in executive session recording?
Yeah,
Oh.
because we do have to record,
Mm.
and then we have to keep the recording for 60 or 90 days to prove that we didn't do anything in
Correct.
executive session.
I thought there was, last time we did this, we were just stopping
Oh,
the current recording and then opening up a new one.
And that's why Wilson advised to do this last,
Oh,
and
so
just
we
close
cut
the,
the
and we're
end
just
off.
gonna cut the end off.
Yeah.
Okay, what about closing, like, the adjournment, process?
Oh, right, thank you. Sorry, my brain is obviously,
No, it's okay.
I'm just gonna do a break. I'm acting like I've done a breakout room before.
You're convincing me. Okay, for the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matter not included in the motion to go into executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record. Okay, hearing none, we will close this meeting out. Next meeting, we wanna start twice a month, this month? No.
Yes. So I would suggest maybe something later this month, but I just wanna highlight that our next meeting is scheduled for July 4th. I have no intention on being here July 4th. So if we do need to decide on another date for our July meeting.
We can just push it to July 11th, that's the following Friday. That works for me.
Yeah, that works good.
I just resent out that calendar invite for that one.
Alright, thank you. Alright, we'll adjourn the meeting, it's 17 hours. Thanks, everyone.
In and out.
Find it out.